This is music, and this is a handful of first impressions. Welcome to another First Impressions video. I'm still chewing my way through all the blind buy CDs I picked up towards the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022. And I have a handful to cover today. So let's just get to it. Up first, Dissenter Contamination. Looks like this on the front, like this on the back. And this is death metal. I would not say that it's kind of brutal death metal, but it doesn't have all those slamming riffs and things like that. It's also mildly technical, but it's not super progressive. So I guess it's just your standard quality 2000s death metal. So you got a barrage of just death metal riffs upon death metal riffs, thrown at your face constantly. You got some blast beats, you got some heavy drumming, you got guttural, growled vocals. So it's just pretty good, pretty solid 2000s death metal. One thing that they kind of do, which is interesting, is that the riffs are kind of repetitive, sounds kind of negative, but what they do is they have kind of like a very short or small like figure that they then repeat and sort of build up their sections like that, which is an interesting listen because it almost kind of evokes a sense of panic or oppression, that you are just attacked with the same figure again and again. So Dissenter Contamination, solid 2000s death metal. Up next, Dominance's Resurrected, and this is a dive bomb release. This is quality thrash metal, so you have some really cool thrash metal riffage patterns going on. You have some really cool songs, you have aggression, you have mosh friendly parts. It's just quality thrash metal across the board. One thing that apparently they were kind of well known for in the underground was that in the title track, Resurrected, they used kind of like samples, and ironically I think those samples are kind of annoying to listen to, but it's a great release here, great thrash metal. There's a live sort of enhanced live video thing on here as well that I have not watched, but all the songs are pretty good. So if you like your thrash metal, check out this one. Up next, Victim of Thought by Enertia, also a dive bomb, and this, as you can see, is basically three, a threefer. You have here one release, got some bonus tracks. Here you have another release, and so those are albums. And then here you have, I don't remember if it's an EP or a demo. So we're dealing with music that it's kind of thrashy, but it's not thrash. It's kind of, there's some traditional metal in it, but it's not traditional metal. There's some groove metal in it, but it's not groove metal. It's kind of, it's 90s metal, and I know this can sound like a turn off to some people because metal in the 90s got kind of weird. But what these guys here do is they kind of take what I consider to be the good things of 90s metal and use those things in a sort of good, constructive way. So we're kind of dealing with 90s metal. You have some US metal elements, even some US power metal elements. You have some traditional metal elements. you have some thrashy elements, you have some groovy elements, you even have some alternative metal elements, but it all comes together very well. These are some really good songs. So very good stuff. There is a very faithful cover version of Cowboys from Hell on it as well, which is pretty good actually. So great stuff. They make good use of the groove. They make good use of the alternative rock elements. They make good use of the US metal and the US power metal elements. So it's very, very, very good 90s metal. If all 90s metal acts had gone in this direction, maybe there would be less hatred towards 90s metal around nowadays. But then, of course, 90s metal would be boring because all the bands would sound the same. But you know what I mean. Quality 90s metal, kind of melodic, power, thrash, groove metal, you know. And it comes together seamlessly. It doesn't sound like it's a patchwork that's stitched together or anything like that. It's seamlessly put together. Great stuff. Enertia, Victim of Thought, Dive Bomb kind of collection or compilation of 2 albums and an EP. Up next, Early Death, The Bleakest Force, a short, sharp shock of an EP. And on the face of it, it kind of looks like maybe some kind of black metal or something like that, but this is thrash metal. And maybe it's mildly blackened thrash metal. Not in the sense that it sounds dirty or primitive or anything like that. It's actually quite not technical, but it's not primitive. It's not dirty sounding. It's not raw sounding. The production is actually kind of high quality. Musically, it sounds a bit. I mean, it's thrash metal, but in parts it sounds a bit crusty, and in other parts it sounds a bit Slayer inspired. The vocals are perhaps mildly blackened, but you don't have these vocals that are just drowned in reverb or anything like that. So to me, it's kind of thrash metal with some black metal tendencies. Very good stuff, actually. I quite enjoy listening to the 4 tracks on this EP. So yeah, if you're in the mood for some thrash metal, why not check out Early Death's The Bleakest Force. Being an EP, it might be a good place to start. And I got some more thrash metal for you. The last one here, Essence, Last Night of Solace. This is, yeah, it's mildly technical thrash metal, kind of melodic as well thrash metal. It has some black metal elements to it, and I would not call it kind of like, again, blackened, because to me blackened thrash is kind of like more like primitive thrash metal. It's not primitive, it's actually, as I said, kind of technical in places. But there are some straight up black metal, tremolo picking and insanely fast blast beat parts. So it's kind of black thrash or thrash metal with black metal elements in that sense. The vocals are more along the lines of the Chuck Schuldiner kind of screechy vocals, and it's actually an extremely good thrash metal album. Seriously, very good stuff. Musically, there are some black metal influences. There's some influences from Creator, it sounds like. There's some influences from Artillery, it sounds like, as well. So really good stuff. To me, perhaps the highlight, all the songs are good, but the highlight to me is Children of Rwanda. So I assume it's about some of the genocide stuff that's been going on there. So that also gives you an idea of the sort of lyrical universe here being kind of serious. So Essence, Last Night of Solace, quality thrash metal. Seriously, if you like thrash metal, I suggest that you try to find a copy of this album and give it a listen. So yeah, that was just a handful of first impressions. I really enjoyed listening to all of these actually, and I hope that if you pick some of these up that you'll enjoy listening to them too. Thanks for watching.